Well, imagine a time, the very ancient past, a time when Homo sapiens, the species of human you are now, did not exist, and the planet was very new. The Arcturus consciousness knew that Earth would be one of the places that integration and tremendous growth from polarity toward unity would happen. And so that energy came to your world in those ancient days, and it's hard to describe what it did because there are really no words to describe it fully, but it surrounded your world. It infused itself, almost like a sheath, so that anyone who ever incarnated on Earth would always feel the energy. What this did was create a very stable field around the planet that would help to always create balance even amidst chaos. So this might sound strange to you because of all the chaos you see around your world, but if you had the ability to look at it from a bird's eye perspective, you would see that the events that play out on your world are always causing balance rather than imbalance. This is very much on an etheric level. It cannot be described such as, when there's an earthquake in Turkey, it balances something in China. You can't really say it like that. It's much more deep. But the Arcturus energy always ensures complete balance occurs, even when you cannot see it, and especially when you cannot rationalize it. Okay, so in those early days then, it created this energetic template around the planet. And the next step was that the Arcturus consciousness around the planet slightly fragmented so that pieces could come to Earth and densify itself into what might look like light beings. So, matter, what you consider solid matter, is really light. And so light can be densified into matter, or it can express itself only in a light or a plasmic state. And so at first then, these Arcturus beings came in a light body state or a plasmic state to begin connecting with the planet and helping to prepare the planet for what was to come. What was to come was the human civilization. And so as time went on, these light beings densified even more. The densest they got was that visually they might look like you if you were to touch, not quite as solid, with a very intense frequency. They had to densify to that degree in order to begin working with the physical substance of Earth. They built the very first temples. And those temples are not accessible right now. Most are in ruins, but the frequency is still here. Okay, so we're going to move up through time. So 13,000 to 26,000 years ago. This was the time period when the human species was being formed. And many of you who are familiar with our information from books and tapes know we talk a lot about the extraterrestrial influences of the creation of the Homo sapiens species. But we're talking now about a time period even before that, because the Arcturian beings began working with the ancient pre-humans well before your extraterrestrial fathers began their genetic enhancement. So how did they work with the humans? This is difficult to describe because it's not in the way you might imagine. The pre-humans did not have the brain capacity such as you in order to receive teachings, etc. So much of the work that was done by these early Arcturian beings was energetic in nature. And it primarily had to do with the development of what you now call the human chakra system. And so the Arcturians at that time were working with the human energy field to help the creation of the different chakras, and the different chakra system is a microcosmic representation of the macrocosm of the 7 densities of consciousness. Now we know this is very esoteric, sorry about that. If you have read Prism of Lyra, you will know what we mean by the 7 densities of consciousness. In general, a very simplistic definition is for you to think of a rainbow. There are 7 colors. Each color in the rainbow represents a certain frequency. When consciousness fragmented, it was much like when light passes through a prism and separates into a rainbow. That's where the term Prism of Lyra comes from. So that process of fragmentation or separation into physical reality created 7 densities of consciousness. Your chakra system, the 7 chakra system that has been used mostly ancient Indian Vedic knowledge, is a microcosm of that macrocosm of the 7 densities of consciousness. And so it was the Arcturian beings in those very, very ancient days that worked with the chakra system. And this brings us then to the chakra they focused on most. It's the heart chakra. The heart chakra is connected with 4th density. 4th density is the consciousness state your planet is now moving into. And it's a state that means less polarity, more integration. You've been in a 3rd density state for thousands of years, which is represented by the solar plexus chakra, which has to do with will, ego, etc. Now you move into the heart chakra. This energy of 4th density and of the heart chakra is the essential energy for what you call ascension or transformation on Earth. This is why the Arcturians focused on the development of the heart chakra, because they recognized that in order for humankind to awaken, the heart chakra would have to be fully developed. And so they were creating a template for that to happen. What this means is that within you, you already have the full capacity for complete awakening and complete opening of the heart chakra. It's already been energetically programmed. But we know many of you feel but that's not true for you. The only reason why people don't feel a connection with that full openness is because of all the pains they have taken on in their life. Not even this life, but past life. Old habits and patterns that have caused you to close yourself, close your heart chakra for the purposes of protection. So that is one of the main goals now for humankind. It will become essential to move beyond the pain and open and work with the heart chakra. And that's where the Arcturus energy is so useful. The Arcturus energy is the energy that will never leave you, will never abandon you, and fully embodies the concept of unconditional love.